As someone who is an Orthodox Christian, I see a varying amount of opinions on the idea of trying to look more attractive or be more attractive, otherwise commonly known as Looksmaxxing. At the same time, I see a lot of people in the Christian space promoting the idea of going to the gym and trying to get as big and as strong as possible. And to me, I find that hypocritical and I kind of stupid. I'll be honest. I go to the gym about 4 to 5 times a week, but I don't do it because I want to look huge. I don't do it because I want to be stronger. I purely do it because I do want to improve how I appear and really my physical health, as we will get to in a moment. So in this video, I want to break down what I call the practical case for looks maxing, why I think every guy should be doing that instead of trying to get as big as possible and trying to get as strong as possible. So pretty much in this video, so the way this is going to work is that I'm going to cover 3 arguments I see people use against it, how I think they're wrong, and then I'm going to give the number 1, in my opinion, argument for this path or for why this is an okay thing to do or why for some men it's even the right thing to do. First, let me define look maxing so we're talking about the same thing. If you break down the word, it breaks down into looks and maxing. So your looks is your perceived attraction. And maxing is to maximize the potential of something, right? And so when you combine those 2 things, looks maxing would technically mean that you are trying to maximize your perceived attraction. Again, if you pay attention, if you pay close attention, completely excludes these unnatural look maxers that are injecting shit into their body and fucking wearing makeup and all of these things, because they're not maximizing their potential attraction. They're literally going beyond nature, beyond their potential, and doing something which is completely unnatural, which doesn't fit my definition. That's more like looks hacking or something of the other sort. Now, the first of 3 arguments that I see, probably the quote-unquote strongest, i.e. the most used, it's actually really fucking weak, is the argument that it's vain and not something that is important for a man to do. The reason this argument is so stupid for me is because the way it points out is that people constantly will talk to you about how the only thing we should care about, and I'm not saying this is wrong, but you'll see my argument, the only thing you should care about is praying and being devoted to your faith, which is 100% correct. But then these same people sit there and they argue as if somehow trying to be as big as possible and as strong as possible has anything to do with your faith. And the way they argue this is with argument number 2, so we will cover that in a second. But the reason this specific line of thinking fails is because everything is vain anyways, if you think about it, right? A lot of the things we do are not necessarily, or really not at all, do not fit that definition of being purely devoted to the faith, right? The average human man, because we're not trapped in the mountain, cannot just sit there and devote themselves to this 24/7. Should they carry their faith throughout their life? Yes. Should that influence their character? Absolutely. Their decision making, their perspective, their motivations, their desires? 100%. But can they live a life that is 100% spiritual in action? No. They have to put food on the table. They have to make money. They have to connect with people. They have to network. They have to work in a society. And guess what? In a society, how you are perceived, unfortunately, does truly matter. Now, the second argument has to do with the first one. And that is that the reason people say that that lifting and trying to be as strong as possible and trying to be as big as possible is actually valid is because it's a healthy thing to do. And God tells us to take care of our temple. Again, 100% right. You are supposed to take care of your temple. But if your goal is to be as big as possible, you're not actually being healthy. But if your goal is to look as well as possible, as good as possible to your potential, then you are being healthy. The reason I say this is because if you look at the actions that increase your perceived attractiveness and the actions that increase your size, one of them is correlated far more heavily with healthy, natural things men has to do, and one of them is very heavily correlated with a bunch of unnatural things that you have to do to get to that size. It's pretty obvious which, right? When I got into the gym literally from the get-go in 10th grade because I wanted to look better. And very quickly I learned that the gym is not enough. You can't just go to the gym. You have to be going outside for 30 minutes, an hour a day, getting sunlight so you can get vitamin D and have good skin. You have to have a skincare routine and take care of your skin. You have to have a good diet and take care of your well-being. You have to lower stress. So you have to live a stress-free life. And God tells us not to worry. There's so many things you have to do that you have to align in your life, both mental, psychological, physical, that have to do with living a natural and healthy life for you to look better naturally. That is just not the same with trying to get as big as possible. If I wanted to get as big as possible, I don't have to worry about not being stressed. I could be as stressed as I want. I don't have to worry about eating a good diet. In fact, meet any gym guy who's focused on size and strength. They're not probably eating a good diet. I don't have to worry about my lifestyle. My lifestyle doesn't have to be healthy and natural. I can play video games all day and get as big as possible. Some of the biggest guys I know, not to say this is like universally true, but some of the biggest guys I know fucking play video games all day and you don't do anything fucking good. And that's the difference. When you maximize your looks, and that's your goal, what happens is that you have to live a natural, healthy, stress-free life. It is not the same when you're trying to be as big as possible. And then the last argument is funny, but it's one that's been used against me many times. And that is that it is gay. I don't think I have to explain to you why wanting to be as big as possible so other men can notice how big you are and compliment you for it is gayer than just wanting to be more attractive. I don't think I have to explain it to you, so we'll skip right over that. You know why that's stupid. Now, to summarize and to finish this all up, the real reason and the real practical case, in my opinion, for trying to maximize your perceived attraction, outside of you need it socially, right? If you were absolutely drop dead hideous, nobody would hire you. Nobody would look your way. And if you were looking to get married, unfortunately, very hard to get married. Your options will be limited, which means you might have to choose a woman that's not fit for you. There's a lot of practical arguments for it, but the number one most practical argument is that fundamentally, health equals looks. It's that fundamental. But health doesn't equal size. If you get as healthy as possible, you're going to look as good as possible. There's a couple of things you can do that don't really align with your health. But if you have acne, it's because you're unhealthy, and fixing that is better for your health. If you're too small or you're too big, and you want to get to a healthy, lean size, that's good for your health. If you want to lowering your body fat is good for your health, it's good for your testosterone. We know this. A lot of people that do this trying to prove their looks, I don't, to be honest, but the people that do, that are really devoted to it, they sleep more so that they can lower their cortisol. And sleeping more is good for your health. If you're in this whole Looksmaxxing thing, you have to go outside and get some sunlight because it's good for your health. You got to stay away. If you're really trying to take it deep to avoid a bunch of stress, you have to stay away from social media and the negative news. You don't have to do that when you're just trying to be big. The reason I make this video is because I don't really have anything against people that just want to be as big as possible. But the fact that constantly in my life, nobody else has seen this, and I have always been criticized for going to the gym for wanting to look good and not wanting to be big and strong, I feel like I needed to make this video because I feel like, I'll be honest, like in my own life, not people out there, though I'm sure there is, but mostly in my own life. A lot of my friends want to go to the gym for that, but they don't want to go to the gym for that because they know nobody thinks it's right. Nobody thinks it's the proper thing to do, and you should go try to be as strong as possible. If you're feeling like that, whether you're one of my friends or whether you're just a random watching this video, think about that for a moment. It is honestly healthier. You're going to feel physically better. You're going to feel mentally better. You have to fix your mental health to look better. Believe it or not. I promise you, as someone that has gone from flat shit hideous to at least bearable to look at, you have to fix your mental health because your mental health shines from within your mind to your being, right? It's kind of cringe, but aura is a thing. And that comes from your mind and your spiritual state. You have to fix your physical body, your physical health, your physical lifestyle, your physical way of being. You have to change and reboot your mind. You have to be in a better, more confident state of mind. You have to be in a healthier spiritual state that will shine from you to physically appear more beautiful. You do not have to do the same we're trying to be as big as possible. And then one last thing I want to bring up is that there is genuine cultural value to promoting a society where everyone tries to bring beauty into everything. There is not any cultural value to trying to promote men to be unnaturally over 200 pounds big, when they're going to be high body fat, they're going to be unhealthy, they're going to have probably crippling physical health from excess gym volume, excess overeating, etc. There's no value to promoting that. There is a value to promoting health and beauty. We already see people that are Christian in our space arguing about this, about how we need more beautiful architecture, and we need more beautiful art, and we need more beautiful, more classic music. We already see people, correct me if I'm wrong, talking about how the trying to change the beauty standard is an issue, how they're trying to make these hyper obese models acceptable, how they're trying to make guys that are objectively unattractive models. We see people talk about how wrong that is, because it leads to a bad culture moral wise. People think that they should be unhealthy, that it's okay to be fat. Here's my question to you. If nobody was trying to be beautiful, wouldn't we lose that same beauty standard you want to preserve because that beauty standard is good for your culture? At the end of the day, if we want to say that we want to promote more beautiful architecture, and we want to promote more beautiful art and more beautiful music, why don't we want to promote more beautiful people? I don't see why not. You can't argue that it's a vain thing to do. Yes, some people take it too far, but in every group there's people that take it too far. That doesn't change the fact that there's value to this thing you can do, just because some people take it too far. There is value to promoting beauty. Beauty equals health, and health in the eyes of God is a good thing. That's my thoughts on it. I'm willing to talk about this. I'm willing to debate it. It's fun. I don't have, again, any ill blood to anyone. These are my thoughts, so that if anyone is thinking through this as well, maybe they have an argument or two, or maybe they want to argue with it if they want. That's up to you. Higher production videos are coming, I promise. But for now, this will do. I'll see you soon.